Hi, I'm Sharyn Murray, and on today's Breezin with Bierman, I'm filling in for Adam Bierman. I am the station manager, and so welcome to Breezin with Bierman. On the segment today, we have a special relationship coach, Neha Sonney, and I'm filling in, so I'm going to read her bio. Neha is a relationship coach. Having felt alone and unloved inside of her marriage, she decided to quit her marriage and find a relationship she had dreamed about. After over 20 years of not giving up on love, she's now living that dream every moment. She now helps singles recover themselves after bad relationships and helps them find true love. As a single woman, I can tell you I'm looking forward to this segment. So welcome, Neha.
Thank you very much, Sharyn.
You're welcome. So what would your life look like if you hadn't pursued this dream career of yours?
This dream of finding a relationship, it's something I cherished since the teenage hormones kicked in. And had I not believed in myself, I would be in the marriage that did not allow for me to grow as a person. I would be a very bitter person. I would have given in to the society. I would not have pursued anything that would allow me to grow. I probably would be a very angry person towards my child, my son. And that's something I could just not relate with.
Would you feel comfortable sharing a few details of your first marriage?
It was an arranged marriage, and I didn't quite have a chance to get to know the person and spend enough time for me to decide. All decisions were pre-made per se for me. And I have to say, yes, it's not like that I have a choice. So I felt that I had to just listen to what they're saying. I was pleasing those people. I was trying to make everyone happy, but I myself was not a very happy person, and I could just not identify with it. There were instances where I can't relate with wearing too much jewelry, for example, and dress very Indian and be very traditional. I can fully respect people, and I don't necessarily have to do the traditional things in order to show respect. Respect is shown from the heart. It's not I won't show it to you just because you expect it from me. And that was something, that space, that authenticity, that freedom that allows for that to happen was not there. Everything was, I have to go by the books, and this is how it is, this is how it's going to remain. For example, we celebrated Diwali in India, and the place I grew up in Bahrain, in a very simple way. And when I was in my marriage, it was a night-long affair. It didn't need to go that long, but it was all prayers, and I felt it was really unnecessary, and it just kind of soured the essence of the New Year the Hindus celebrated. Mm-hmm. And I was very happy, actually, when I gave birth to my son, that I didn't have to put up with all of these formalities, and that pissed off a lot of people.
Was this in India? Was
I lived after I got married. I lived in Hong Kong. So okay. My then husband, he is an Indian, born and raised in Hong Kong.
Okay, now I understand.
Yeah.
Now you shared with me prior to starting the show that you were a teacher.
Yes.
Prior to being a relationship coach.
That's correct.
And you shared something very interesting about a correlation, a parallel between teaching and relationships.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
It's people finding security within a relationship and empowerment is going to allow for them to grow. I feel that as a human, the birth that you're given, that the reason you are here on earth is for expansion. Now, the way and what I experienced as a teacher didn't allow for, it was crushing the spirits of the children, and the system won't allow for them to explore their creative sides. It was very bookish, and I wanted to bring the difference. The only difference that could make them happy would be allowing for them to learn in the way that they are capable of, so they can understand. Anybody would understand the language of love. Anybody would anybody would feel appreciated if they are taught with a lot of patience, and if they're given the freedom, they grow to love and enjoy whatever they're learning, versus forced into doing something they don't even know what they're doing. And that happened a lot in Hong Kong, where local children went to schools and were frustrated. Parents pressuring them to, because academically they have to excel, and not necessarily everyone is born to excel academically. There's so many other gifts that they have that they need to discover. Who's going to allow for that to happen? And the similarity, I would tie that with relationships, is if you have a trusting relationship with someone, you it grows you into a very loving person. The capacity to love grows tremendously. The capacity for acceptance of other people as well grows, and it has the capability, the potential for two people that are coming together to do something absolutely amazing.
I absolutely agree with that, and I'm looking forward to that future. For right now, though, let's go back to the typical relationship of a person putting on a facade during the courtship, and then there's marriage, and then things sometimes fall apart after that. What do you have to say about that?
Well, if they started a relationship, and if people want to find relationships, people want to find partners, and oftentimes when they're dating, there's a lot of there's this protection mechanism that people use because they want to be accepted, they want to be loved, and it's a very, in a way, it's selfish, but it's not necessarily fulfilling in the long term. Putting up a false identity just so that one is accepted is not helpful. But let's say people believe in that, and two people go ahead and find some similarities. They realize, okay, maybe this is really love. We like each other. Maybe the chemistry is amazing. But is there enough friendship? Probably not. So when they marry and when they start to live with each other, when they're in, let's say, challenged by each other, when there is heated emotional discussions, are they able to handle that well enough and be able to effectively communicate? All of those come out only when a person is friends with someone. And that's how it was when we were in school, for example. We had built beautiful relationships, we had long-term friendships at school because we met those people regularly. We saw them every day. We built trust with them. We can do many things together with them, versus just trying to please someone. So if people are gonna just go into please someone so that they're liked, that's very sad. And it does not help because they have not shown their true selves. Also, they have not seen the other person for who that person actually is. And when it comes out one day in the open, it feels like this was a bad decision. We should have never married. We should have never met each other. And then they have to go the separate ways, and there's a lot of bitterness around things. So it's best to start with on a foundation that's going to be more solid.
So there's a famous line of a song, a Freddie Mercury song, "Find me somebody to love."
Yeah.
So I almost think it's better to have the feeling, to feel that you're in love than to be loved. I feel like that's a more powerful feeling at times, is to feel like loving towards something or somebody.
Yes, correct. And I like the way you have put it. And one can only be loving when they have loved themselves.
Absolutely. Amen.
Amen. Yes. If they can't love themselves, they cannot love another person, which is exactly where I was.
Well, what would you say is the biggest turning point in your dating life?
So what happened was I was meeting a lot of guys, but for whatever reason, I just could not connect with them, or I did not find them committing. It was 3 dates and the boy disappears, 3 dates and the guy disappears, and it's not lasting. I wanted to know what was I doing wrong. And so I realized, I read up, I researched, I wanted to work on myself. And then I came across a certain, I can't remember the name of the person, but this couple was talking about some emotional investment, that when a woman is able to show her emotions effectively to a man, she arouses in the man the potential to be her partner, and they need to understand how they can express that. Now, if a man has seen a woman physically naked before they have seen her emotionally naked, there are high chances that man is not going to be with that woman, because why should he commit to someone? What is she inspiring of him to do? Why should he have a family with her? Why would he invest in her? And so there is no emotional commitment, which a lot of women feel is missing. So how can I worked on it, how can I inspire in a man to be protective of me, to be my husband, my boyfriend, my whoever, to be my life partner, to be a soulmate, to be with me for the rest of my life? How would he invest? How would he take it?
I'm sitting on pins and needles. What's the answer?
The answer is working on, okay, so a lot of women, when they're emotionally charged, and this happens when they're asked a question when they don't know how to respond to a man. When they respond in an emotional way, they show anger.
Oh.
And oftentimes, it may drive men away. There is another way to express it. And when you personally are okay with that anger, you are okay with displaying your emotion, you're okay showing your vulnerability, that is when a man sees that he can do something to help you, because men are dying to find someone who is going to ask them to be a superhero to a woman. They're dying for that to happen.
Can you give us an example of a situation where a woman needs something from a man, of the ways that she can show vulnerability?
Asking a man who may not necessarily be a sexual partner in the beginning, or he could be, but it's better if it's done before. So asking a man for help. I need your help with something, like whatever you
painting, or even painting, or okay.
Painting, anything that you would expect that a man would be happy to do, like that's a man's job to do, like, you know, move heavy things for you. I missed the only time I missed having a man in my life is when I had to shift homes and I was carrying heavy things from one place to another. It would have really helped if I had someone to help me with that. And I expressed myself in a way that my friend at that time could possibly help me. So we were friends at that time. Other things that a woman can do is, so I need your help with whatever, and expressing that you are scared. I am scared. You are showing that you are scared. We're not turning anything on someone else. We're talking about ourselves. I am afraid. I am scared. So this inspires a man to protect a woman, because that's what they're for.
So it sounds to me like there's a golden rule I have of not making the other person wrong. So it sounds like like a lot of relationships that fail is like, you this and you that, and you don't do this and you don't do that, and there's a lot of blame.
Yes.
Where you're talking about taking 100% responsibility for your actions, for your emotions, and just expressing it from, you know, they say in relationships, to use the I word, like don't.
That is right. That is correct.
Basically.
You inspire a man by talking about how you feel, and I feel this way. So you need to be first okay with expressing that, and it's no point making the other person wrong. Blame is again more like a defense mechanism, and it's really pointless to blame. It just goes on and it makes things worse. So if you take full responsibility, if the other person takes full responsibility, I 100% believe that people are better communicators when they take responsibility for themselves and choose to not blame. The other thing I practiced for many years was meditation, and that helps to calm the emotions and like regulates hormones in the body. So when you're much calmer, you have better approach to communication, you have better approach to relationships, and you choose to, you know, take better responsibility for yourself. And blaming the other person is just going to be pointless. That means you're giving away your power, you know? That means that other things still controls you. Your anger, the bitterness, whatever it is, that thing that happened in the past, you haven't dealt with, for which you want to blame. It's still controlling you. The other person is controlling you. You want to take that power back.
Well, you have a piece of advice, and this is the last question. You have a piece of advice for people to stop dating, put the smartphone down. So can you explain a little bit about your philosophy on that?
Yes. Dating.
It's the opposite of what most people tell you.
Yes.
Get out there, get on all the dating sites you can. But you're saying the opposite.
Well, if you are doing what everyone else is doing, you're going to end up with the same results. If you have not had a different result, do you think you should do something different? If your answer is yes, then my advice would be to not date. Well, okay, you can have play dates where you go and do activities together that you both enjoy. Let's say you enjoy dancing. You know, you and the guy can go dancing and then talk about things. Dating is like, movies have spoiled it for us. Like, I'm going on a date. And it's like when you go out on dates, you dress up or you do whatever, or you go on a coffee date. And why is it associated with food? Why is it associated? How much can you know a person if you're going on dates? In the way that is seen as dating. And so if you get out of that mindset of, like, you know, and that expectation of this is what a date is supposed to be like. A walk can be a date, an activity done together, an art class taken together can be a date. Sitting and talking and getting to know another person can also be a date. It doesn't have to revolve around the typical stuff. If you go and watch a movie together on the first date, how much have you known about the other person apart from the fact that you probably like the same movie, you have the same taste in the movies? How much do you get to know about the person? If you're trying to find someone, would you think it's important that you know yourself and know what you want?
Well, what's the perfect date for you? What would a perfect date be?
I love beaches. I love hikes. I love nature.
Okay.
And I love biking. I like going on active dates, and I love dancing as well. So that's, for me, a perfect date. And I prefer many times that my such dates are stretched out, so I have a better chance of doing something where I get to know the person I am with. Well, I already have someone in my life, and I go out on.
I was just going to add that you're a very attractive woman, but you are taken right now. So, how can people get in touch with you as a relationship coach?
I am very active on my Facebook page. That's one way to get in touch with me.
And that is?
I go by the name Coach Neha. And
Coach Neha.
Yeah, it's at Infinite Wisdom 999 / but if you look up Coach Neha with a face like this, you'll probably find me with tons of videos about dating, relationships, and just send me messages, get in touch with me. There's an email as well on my Facebook page. You can contact me there.
Great.
I'll be more than happy to help you.
All right. Well, I happen to agree with a lot that you had to say. So thank you so much for your time, Neha.
Thank you very much, Sharyn. It's a pleasure to be with you. Pleasure to be here.
Welcome to Princeton Television. Welcome to Adam Bierman Show. Actually, Adam will not be here this week. He will return next month. But we got a great show here. We have got the ladies of the Trenton Animals Rock Foundation. I'm going to introduce these two ladies. I'm going to introduce themselves, and I'm really excited for tonight's show because I'm really big about animals, animal rights, and these two are doing a great thing here. So, sitting with me is
Danielle Gletow, Nadia Adam.
All right. So, exactly, tell our audience exactly how this started.
So, Trenton Animals Rock started about a year ago.
Okay.
We started because we noticed right away that there was a lack of resources at the Trenton Animal Shelter. They needed a lot more monetary support and resources to come in to help the dogs that were there, as well as ensure that the dogs that were coming in were getting medical treatment. And that's kind of how it started. It started with a post that Nadia had actually done on social media about an injured dog.
Busy story. It's one of the stories of the founding of Trenton Animals Rock. So.
Yeah, and actually busy stories on our website, so people can read it. But I saw it on Facebook that there was this injured dog sitting at the shelter, not getting medical care, and connected with Nadia through the Facebook page. And long story short, ended up figuring out a way to get the animal out of there and get treatment for him, and it was extremely expensive. And so I wanted to fundraise, but the shelter itself can't accept donations because they're not a 501c3. And being that I was already running a nonprofit for foster children, and I knew how to start one, I got together with Nadia and another volunteer named Judy, and we decided to form Trenton Animals Rock so that we could raise more money and support. And Nadia knows like more of the history of the shelter because I've only been around for a year. So
Awesome. And you actually brought one of the special featured guests here?
This is Ollie. He's one of my dogs. I have 5 dogs that I've adopted from the Trenton shelter, and I've had him for 5 years, I think.
And what exactly would be this story of Ollie?
He was abandoned, I think, or a stray. It's like the story of like most of the dogs we get like probably like 95% pit bulls in Trenton. It's an inner city shelter. So this is what we get all the time: stray or abandoned pit bulls. They're usually really great dogs, very friendly, and there are just tons and tons of them. So.
And I think a lot of the world has kind of caught up through social media and stuff in the last 10 years about like
pit bulls.
Not so much, pit bulls too, but also just adopt, don't shop, and everything. But I think there's so many more people out there that don't.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to go get a dog, cat, whatever, like how what's the process? What should they be doing?
So first, I would say if you want to get a pet, definitely adopt through a reputable rescue group. You have to be careful because there are some rescue groups that are kind of perpetuating the problem. Most of the time, I would say if you can take an adult dog, fuzzy little puppies are super cute. They're not hard to place, and we have a lot of adult dogs in the shelter that end up still waiting. So people through the Trenton Animal Shelter, they can either adopt directly through the shelter by going to PetSmart. Every Sunday, Nadia, Judy, and a bunch of volunteers bring the adoptable dogs to PetSmart in Langhorne, and people can meet the dogs and adopt right through the shelter. The other way is that they can foster through Trenton Animals Rock or other rescue groups. And they would just go to our website. It's tarnj.org, tarnj.org. There's a link for fostering. You may put in an application. It's a short application. We come and do a home study. We talk to your current vet if you have one. Set up a meet and greet with your dogs, and then you can meet all the available dogs that we have. And then once you've fostered for 2 weeks, we allow the dogs to be adopted. We like to have like kind of a chill period for the dogs because the shelter, as you can imagine, is really stressful.
Makes sense.
Especially for dogs that are owner releases. So dogs that were used to being in a home and now they're in a kennel and they're in there for 16 hours a day with no real human interaction alone. And that can be really incredibly difficult for them to deal with. So we like to give them a decompression period. But I can't stress enough, please, if you're going to rescue a dog, rescue an adult dog.
Yeah. We always joke that all of our dogs are 2 years old.
Yeah.
So it's pretty common that
adopt a 2-year-old.
People get a puppy and there's a lot of backyard breeding in Trenton and there's a whole problem. So people get a puppy and they, it gets to 6 months, a year, and it's a problem and so there are a lot of stray dogs between 6 months and 2 years old.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, I know a lot of work goes into this, and basically all of it's volunteer.
All volunteer.
All volunteer.
No one's paid.
Yeah.
I mean, we have other jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have jobs.
We have other jobs, but yeah, it's really amazing. When I first got involved with them a year ago, I couldn't believe how many dogs were being moved to the shelter, into rescue groups and into adoption, with no formalized entity. It was all being done by just a group of really passionate, focused people, which is, I think, that the best way to get things done. So now that we formalized and we actually have, a method for people to donate, and we have a little bit more of protocol and process, I think we've even sped that process up a little bit more. But it's still all volunteers. It's people who just love dogs and animals and want to give them the best possible chance, because a lot of them, we see terrible cases. I mean, things that
yeah, this kind of ruins your whole day, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's horrifying. We find dogs with mange so severe that they're swollen and bleeding, and dogs that have prolapse that's so bad and they're puppies. That actually, I think most of the puppies, for a while, we got 4 puppies in a row, severe prolapse, which is painful, and it's correctable, but it's expensive to fix, and so they get dumped. And you find these adorable animals, and they're so grateful. Like, they're immediately love you, and
thanking you immediately.
Yeah,
almost. Yeah.
It's wonderful, but you just can't believe that a human being would do this to a defenseless animal. Like,
it's really sad, actually, because a lot of the dogs have been like abused or like lived out in a yard on a chain or something, and they still love people. They come in and they're still like, yes, give me affection and love, and so yeah, they're really incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it's the heart spirit of the animal. It's great. And recently, you guys, this kind of a recent adventure in the news with Trenton. So you guys were hit up about
the hoarding case.
The hoarding case, yeah.
Which it's strangely, I feel like there's been a lot of hoarding cases in the news. I didn't think that we'd ever see something like this in Trenton because the houses are so close together.
Mm-hmm. Like, how'd they get away with it for that long?
How did you have...
We had 2 houses connected, and yeah.
Ugh.
I know.
But they said when they got there, so when the animal control officers got there, they said when they walked to like the gate or the front entry, you could smell
dog,
what it would be
else.
if you had dozens of dogs.
Yeah, because they'd just been, these dogs were in the house for their whole lives, living in their own,
and chained together.
Yeah, so
with these heavy chains that were locked, all locked together, and then some of them were in cages, packed in cages. And they were big dogs. So there were Mastiffs, there were Neapolitan Mastiffs, which are really expensive and big dogs. I mean, those are the ones with the jowls that hang down.
Yeah.
They're gorgeous. And tons of Rottweilers. So there was a lot of large breed dogs in there. So imagine they were all crammed in there. And you could tell that it was probably a free-for-all with food, because
yeah, because some of them were starving and some were not
very well fed.
The boss dogs.
Yeah.
And this is this I think some of the audience realizes this and some of them don't. But I mean, there's just some terrible people out there that take that.
Well, I think it's also there's mental health issues too. I mean, I think that sometimes, and I don't know that this is the case in this case or in any of the other hoarding cases that have been in the news lately, but clearly there's some disconnect between reality and what you think you're doing. And so I think sometimes there is a case where people believe they're saving these animals and they can't get the breeding under control, or they don't want to give them up because they don't want them to be euthanized, which Trenton is a kill shelter. I mean, most I think municipal shelters are. There's only 20 large kennels in the Trenton Animal Shelter. That means that when any given week, I would say in the time I've been there, I have seen between 6 and 15 dogs come in a week. So if there's 20 and they have to stay on hold for 7 days by state law, where are you putting all these dogs? So I think people know that, and so again, I don't know that was the case with this, but there are sometimes people who think they're doing the right thing by keeping their dogs out of a shelter. But if they were neutered and spayed,
yeah,
people just don't realize. And cats too. People just don't realize. Please fix your animals.
Yeah,
it's a big thing.
Yeah.
So, what happened on the news? What we're talking about here? How many dogs?
52 dogs.
52 dogs, and they call you.
Well, the ACO called me because the shelter manager was on vacation, and he was like, I don't know.
One of the ACOs is a torn ACL.
Yes.
So he's on crutches.
He's on crutches. He's
Gotcha.
only got one other ACO with him who has only been on the job for a couple of months. And he's like, Danielle, I don't know what to do with, I don't know what we're going to do. We're not at the shelter because they all had to go, him and the other ACO and the guy who does maintenance there, who is probably the most under-recognized person.
Yeah.
So shout out to James. Because I don't know how this guy does this, but he solo cleans these cages every day of the week. So anyway, so all of them were out, and I think he was he knew he was going to have to move dogs quickly because they didn't have space for what he thought was going to be 25 dogs. So he's like, can you go there and open the doors so when we come in, we can start moving the dogs that are there into different runs so we can get the new dogs in and assess them. He also knew, And so, like, I don't think he was calling me because, like, I'm going to save the day, but he knew that we had funds for medical treatment, and he knew the dogs, a lot of them were in bad condition and would need to go to the emergency room. So as they were coming in, like, we were assessing which ones we thought were critical so that we could take them right away to our vet hospital partner, which is CARES in Langhorne. And, so I got there, and shortly after I was there, a couple other volunteers from another rescue came, and then Nadia and Judy and some other volunteers came a few hours after that and just started moving dogs. Like,
it was crazy.
It was crazy.
And these dogs were like terrified. Like when I got there, Danielle's like, there's these 2 big female mastiffs and they're in a cage together down the back, and I think we need to get them out. And like these dogs had probably never been like touched by a person. What are you doing?
Look at me.
Enough about them. Me. Yeah.
Yeah, so I went down there and I'm like, these girls are just terrified. And one of them's blind. She couldn't see at all because she's like such bad like cherry eye. And but they smelled, like I had chicken with me, and they smelled it, and they like came in and they got it. So we got them out and we cut the chains off them, and like they were the friendliest dogs. Like after 2 minutes, it was like, it was really crazy.
Was that your biggest like rescue?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Even like
I hope we never.
I hope so for you too.
Again.
Yeah.
Even Joe, he just retired, but he was an ACO there forever. He said like they never had a hoarding case that big in all his time there. So.
That's so many dogs.
Yeah.
It's like they at one point were like lining, the hallway was lined with cages of the smaller dogs, and the little ones, like the puppies, the little Yorkie puppies, were like 5 in a cage because there was nowhere to put them. Thankfully, rescues are pretty easy to find for small dogs. So Judy got them out right away. She was like, "Oh, I got this," and they were gone that same day to rescue, which they needed because they could then get vetted properly. We couldn't the ones that appeared to be healthy, we couldn't vet all of those dogs in that short period of time. We needed to focus on the ones that were clearly, like there were some that were just not like really aware. They were, and then we had a couple that were like really, really growly puppies, and we knew like something had to be wrong with them because they didn't want to be touched because they were, and you could see their ribs.
Yeah.
And those mastiffs, the neo-mastiffs that Nadia got out, I actually think I sent you the video of the first time they're coming out, and you can see them like,
that's one of them.
Yeah.
He only weighed 80 pounds. He should have been like 120 or 30 or something.
And he was in the hospital for a while. He was the sickest of the Neapolitan Mastiffs. So like when they first touched the grass, remember they were like not sure.
Well,
like,
a lot of the dogs I think hadn't really walked because they just like walked so weird. It was like
that
it was
one
really
puppy.
crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty horrifying. It was horrifying because like, but at the same time, it's like it's always those moments of I can't believe that this is possible, that these animals could be living like this, but then they're licking your hand and they're happy to they like people still. And how many people came together to do this?
That's a beautiful
and
part.
And a lot
of
of rescues came together.
Yeah.
So a bunch of Mastiff rescues, and we cleared the shelter of all those
6
dogs
days.
in 6 days.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, for anybody who's watching, and I know we were talking about this before in the green room, but I mean, I know you get hit up by people that want to get involved, or hey, I'll take that dog, but I don't think a lot of people understand the process. Like, exactly what would you do?
Well, don't message us on Facebook that you want to adopt a dog. I mean, you can. We'll tell you to go to the link and apply. So everybody has to apply. And it would be really irresponsible for us if we just did oh, thanks for messaging me on Facebook. Sure, let me drop a dog off at your house. Of course we're not going to do that. So if people are interested, they should go to the website. They can ask us for the link through Facebook. That's fine. But we post it all the time. They can apply either for a specific dog they might see on our page, or just for any dog in general that they're willing to open their home to. And then he's like, "You're so boring." And then we will go through the application process with them. We'll find a dog that fits their house. And I think Nadia and Judy and Anne, they're all Trenton Animals Rock Board members. They're really good at that part. That's not my my part.
Okay.
I like marketing and fundraising.
That's,
but,
everyone's got their part, right?
And playing with dogs. Like I just
you
want
can also volunteer with us, which
You
is
can.
another way you can help out and not just go on Facebook.
So
or whatever.
how does someone get to do that?
Don't complain on Facebook. Come out and volunteer.
Yeah.
We talked about this out there, and I think it's really important because I get it. Like you see things, and it's frustrating, or you are, horrified by like an image, and people want to comment, and that's great. But like, it'd be so much more helpful if they showed up and walked dogs at the shelter, which can happen during the week. Monday through Friday from like 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. And then on the weekends...
Well, we do an orientation. So if someone wants
Right.
to stop volunteering and they're new, they can message us on Facebook or whatever. We'll get back to them. But our orientation is Sunday morning because it's when we do our adoption day. So we'll have new volunteers come then. We show them how everything in the shelter works, how to stay safe, what the adoption day looks like, and just familiarize them with the shelter. And then we have various other events, like you can go during the week, or we do a pack walk on Saturday mornings. We usually take the dogs over to Mercer County Park, so you can,
cool.
it's actually really cool to see them there because they like go in the lake and like mess around with each other and stuff. So but there's lots of opportunities to walk the dogs or sit with them at adoption events. And even other things like screening applications or whatever. If people are
I was going to
interested
say
in
the
that.
administrative
So,
part.
Even if you if you don't like walking dogs
Right.
or you can't or whatever, there's like other things as well.
Yeah, screening applications, reaching out to businesses for support because, we can always use donations of like leashes, harnesses, in good condition or brand new, not like the one that you were about to throw away.
Gotcha.
I tell people like if you're...
We get those, by the way.
We do.
A lot.
Like if you're gonna throw something away, like if you were looking at anything, and you're like, I should throw this out, you should throw it out. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like if your first thought was, I should get rid of this, throw it out. We will take gently used things, of course.
Sure.
But if it's like a leash falling apart or, something covered in a foreign substance, like
I've taken bags of like collars and stuff and just thrown them straight out because I'm like, these are disgusting.
Yeah.
Like that's...
And people think, oh, it's a shelter dog or something. I'm like, no.
No, like, they're still alive.
Yeah.
And they have a sense of smell, and so do we. So, like, we're not gonna... So I think, definitely people who are willing to, like, make calls for us or who want to do fundraisers, we've had people who've done really cool things, like the liquor store did like a wine tasting, and it was like $5, and they did a whole bunch of tastings, and then they donated the money to Certain Animals Rock, not One Simple Wish. So I think like you can come up with really fun ways, like do a yard sale, and like whatever you make is a big deal to us because it's all volunteer, so your money is going to this and nothing else. Like I know sometimes people don't want to support organizations that pay people, which is a whole nother show. But because people should be paid. But we are a volunteer organization. We all do this just in our free time.
Because you love the animals.
Yeah, and so any amount of money is so important, and
it all goes straight to the dogs.
Yeah.
Basically, like medical or like.
And medical's huge. Like, and it can happen like that. Like while we're sitting here, we could get a text and say like from an ACO saying, "Can you meet me at CARES? We just got a dog in, and I'm pretty sure it has a broken leg."
And that's
Right. Again, it's going to be thousands.
That's going to be
of dollars.
thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's not like $20.
Right.
There you go.
So in the past, the option would be, can they get that dog to a rescue that might take on and incur the costs, which would happen, I think, a lot of times, but not all the time, or euthanizing the dog.
Yeah.
Because
the city would have a certain amount they could spend, and if it was going to be over that amount, that was it.
Yeah, rough.
So now we're able to just show up and, make it happen. And we share the fundraisers on Facebook as soon as we interact with the dog and we know the situation. And we have like the most amazing supporters. I still can't believe how quickly people will respond when we have an urgent case. It's really awesome.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, they're just right on it. It's like, okay, so that's what's so nice about that is now we don't worry, like we don't hesitate to treat an animal, we know that like the people are going to come through for us. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, cool. Is there like people that are always like any of the audience even listening to this right now, as far as like, could they just like donate food, like bags of dog food to you guys and stuff like that?
I would say not right now, only because like the shelters where all the food is kept, because they have like a temperature controlled trailer for food. And when the hoarding case happened, people were just so super generous and gave tons and tons of food.
And food, laundry, detergent, everything. The shelter is like absolutely full of those kind of donations.
But we will need it again. So I tell people, like, space out the love. So that it's, because it's like a natural disaster, right? Natural disaster happens and everybody's like, get everybody water and toothpaste. Like, immediately a city is like inundated with water and toothpaste and I don't know, whatever's like another staple. But then response groups have to say, we're good on the water, because then the needs become very specific, right? And then money is the best answer to specific needs, because you can tailor whatever the response is to that animal. So right now, like, we have tons of crates for days, and we have tons of food, but we still need like quality treats is a big one. Bones like that last, like bully sticks, Nyla bones, the kinds of things that like are good for dogs and last them a good amount of time. Those are things we definitely need more of. And so like Nyla bully sticks would be like a dream. They're expensive.
They are expensive.
And they're super expensive. But
it's so nice for the dogs.
It is. It's so and
it's got a tough name too.
Yeah, right? Well, did you know what it is?
No, I'm lying. But it's tough.
Google that one.
Okay.
You're gonna Google it afterwards, and you're gonna love it.
Gotcha.
So bully sticks are. He's like, what?
He knows that.
Did you say the B word?
Oh, he does know. I'll buy you one.
You woke him up. He's like, he said the B word.
Oh, he did look it. Oh, hi, can I have a kiss? Oh, he's like, now I
How
like
about
you.
the dogs, folks? Come on.
So bully sticks are great. So sorry. Oh my God, again. He's like, they are great.
Earmuffs.
Yeah, earmuffs. So we could still use that, and then leashes. Quality leashes and harnesses.
Collars and harnesses.
Yeah, like large
harnesses.
harnesses. Yeah. The step-in harnesses are so easy. Those are really easy to use. And then also for the dogs that are like going into a home, like we could always use dog beds to give the new foster homes. So somebody, I don't know who, this was so cool at the like whole hoarding situation happened. Right now, the organization, or not now because I changed it, but the organization when we first started was just registered to my house because we don't have an office. And we hadn't yet set up a mailbox. And I guess somebody like must have like pulled our 990 or something and saw our origin address. And so they sent like an insane amount of boxes from Chewy. I still don't know who it came from, but if you're somebody who sent them, it's all beautiful dog beds and awesome grain-free food. Like, it was really cool. My husband came home, he's like, did you order a whole bunch of stuff from Chewy? Like, no, it's for our pups.
Why is Shore Rocks, eh? Puppy love.
Oh, look at him. There you go. Good job, buddy. Tell them to donate to Tar. What if he just turned around and said, donate?
It's funny, too, because as the ladies came in, there's lots of doors here, and this dog knew exactly where to go. Like he knew what door. Then it tried going into the editing room, and we're
He's ready for his 15 minutes, man, right?
Crazy.
Who doesn't want that?
Yeah. So what would you like to see, if there's anything you could really preach, what could you ask of people to help you?
Adopt older dogs.
Adopt older dogs.
I tease people, and I don't know, we might get nasty comments about this, but like I tease people all the time when they say like, oh, look at, I rescued this dog, and it's like a 2-week-old puppy. It's like white and fluffy. Yes. Adopt is better all around, whatever. But if you're capable of adopting, and I'm not going to lie, I totally adopted a puppy. I adopted a puppy from...
I've adopted 2 puppies.
Easily.
But also
so
older dogs.
But I feel like now that I've been in the shelters so much over the last year, especially over the last 3 months, I feel like I don't think I could ever do it again, because they're great dogs, and you don't have to go through like housebreaking them. Almost all of them are housebroken. They don't pee every 10 minutes. Like, there's so many benefits.
You know what the dog is like, right? You can get the exact dog you want. Like, if you know
how it's gonna end up, right?
Yeah.
Right, because sometimes people like get a puppy and they're like, oh, this is cute now, and then later it's like,
I can turn out like anything.
Right. And like an adult dog is who they are, and their temperament's kind of set, and like I said, they don't pee all the time, and they're not chewing your furniture or your walls or your molding, or I think there's so many benefits, and you're really helping us clear the shelter. And I just hope everybody thinks about that. 20 large kennels in a city where they estimate 13,000 dogs live.
Yeah.
Of course, not all the dogs are in need of passing through the shelter, but 20.
Yeah. It's insanely small. Like most cities,
it's a small
have,
it's a small hotel. That's really what it is. There's only so many vacancies, right?
Right. And so you can only put so many dogs there, and so you have to think and I don't envy the job that these animal control officers have to do. I don't know how they do it. Mm-hmm. I say it to them all the time, and I try my best to show them gratitude and do what I can to thank them, and because it is very exhausting work, and it's heartbreaking work. It's every day seeing sometimes the worst of humanity and animals in bad conditions, and knowing you're kind of stuck. You can only do what you can do, and you can't walk outside and just start building a new shelter. I mean, the space is the space.
Yep.
And every week some dogs are going to have to be put down if there's not room, or if they're sick and there's not care. I mean, that's been reduced since we've been involved, because the sick dogs get treatment. But just go adopt.
Yeah.
Go adopt older dogs and donate money to reputable rescue groups. Do your research. GuideStar, I tell everybody all the time, it's so easy. Go to guidestar.org, create a free account. You can put in the name of any nonprofit, not just animal welfare organizations, but any nonprofit, and you can pull the 990s of those organizations. You can see how much money they've brought in, what comes in from program service revenue, what comes in from contributions and grants. You could see what kind of salaries are being paid out, and I'll tell you that most rescues don't have those, but you can look at that. And you can call them and ask those sorts of more detailed financial questions, because that's public information. So use it, do research, give when you can, volunteer. Don't just complain on Facebook.
Absolutely.
I hope someone complains in the comments.
Go volunteer.
Yeah, right?
Thanks for all three of you for coming on to this show. I've always liked to give back, especially to animals.
Yeah, thank you.
So this is the part where you kind of already were there, but if you want to focus on that camera, and if you want to let everybody know how they could help you, get in touch, any plugs,
TARNJ.org. That's all you need to know.
You can follow us on Facebook too.
Yes, and Instagram. And we will tell you how you can help every single day.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I thank you very much for the Trenton Animal Rocks girls here. They stopping by. This dog's going to totally easily lead them back out the way they came in. This is a rock star dog here. So, for real, please support all these animals. It's a big thing. It's a big thing to me too. And like she was saying, don't just talk about it.
Do something.
Do something. Yes. That's how you feel better in life.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make things happen. So we thank you, and we will see you next month.
Hi, Adam Bierman, Princetonian now. We're at Princeton TV. This is where we make this show. Actually, it gets broadcast. Princeton TV, for those who do not know, is a public access station, PEG Media. And what it does, it basically lets you put on your own show. You come here, you learn how to use equipment, editing, on-camera presence. If the medium is the message, you become the message. Adam Bierman, Princetonian now. They say most cable access stations start in a closet. Well, this one did, but now it's grown. Various incantations. We're kind of back in a closet, though, and we're talking to George McCullough, what's your official title?
Executive Director. You just put me in the closet?
No. Anyway, you're Executive Director of Princeton TV. How many years?
I got here when Adam was just this big doing his first TV show. And you've been around, what, for 12 years?
Well, actually 2000, but you were Valley Road, I think 2004. It's basically the beginning, because before that, we're in a little closet at the old Arts Council. And we had Maurice, very nice guy, didn't want anyone to do anything, take anything out or come in. He would lock the doors and everything. So maybe you're really the beginning of the new generation of Princeton TV stuff. So what's your typical day like?
I sit at a computer about 6 or 7 hours a day and do a lot of administrative work and coordinate producers coming in and out of here.
What are you most proud of with your contribution to the arts, to the community, to public broadcasting?
Well, I got to say, I'm impressed. When I first got here, the station was broadcasting maybe about 2 hours, 3 hours a night, a day. We're now on 24 hours a day. We have 2 access channels we can program. We're now seen not only on cable in Princeton, but we're seen throughout Mercer County. We have our own Roku channel. We have
Facebook Live,
our own channel on Apple TV. We stream on live on the internet at princetontv.org. We have about 5,000 programs that are archived online. That's the whole history of Princeton since probably about 2004.
Hi, Adam Bierman, Princetonian Now. Princetonian Now is at Princeton TV. So much Princeton, so much TV. We're at, should I say, the genesis, the incubus. That's not a good incubator, would be better, of where this show is made. And we're talking to a cog, a long-time component, a mover and a shaker, Princeton TV, Sharyn Murray. Hi, Sharyn.
Hi, Adam.
Sharyn, how long have you been working at Princeton TV, and what's your basic job description?
I've been working here for 11 years, almost 11 years, and I am basically a jack of all trades. I'm the station manager, but I do whatever needs done. I do a lot of the artwork. My background's in art, so I do a lot of the publish the newsletter, but I also just do the daily things that need done, like process reservations, set up the studio, produce shows, direct shows, help in the editing lab, things like that.
Oh, Sharyn, what makes Princeton TV unique to you and to the community?
I think one of the things that makes it unique is that it's such a robust public access station for the suburbs. We have about 30 to 40 shows that we produce per month.
And finally, what makes what are you looking forward to in the future for Princeton TV?
I think bringing in more of the public, more recognition of the station, and what a great find it is, how it helps people, how it helps the community, and just have more people come in and use it.
Great. So if you have a Walter Mitty fantasy about making your own show, you can do it. You can produce, direct, star in, and Sharyn Murray will be here to help you. And we're with Markian Beck. Markian, you work at Princeton TV. How long have you been at Princeton TV?
I've been working here almost 2 years.
Brief job description, what do you do?
Basically a little bit of everything. I program people's shows for broadcast. I help people film their shows here, and just pretty much wherever holes need plugging.
Hopefully job brings you joy and self-esteem and satisfaction. What brings you the most joy when you do things at Princeton TV, or what many things bring you joy here?
I actually really like teaching people how to do stuff on their own, and it's a really big payoff for me when I see people finally get their sort of aha moments when it comes to producing their own shows, and it's just a really fun part of my job.
And finally, what's part of your job description or things that happen to you that people wouldn't expect happen here at Princeton TV?
Putting out a lot of fires, a lot of miscommunication, miscalculation, because sometimes people don't bring stuff back on time when they reserve equipment, for example. So I have to do a lot of problem solving with respect to making sure that everybody gets the stuff that they asked for when they asked for it, and just in general trying to keep things peaceful between people.
Always a diplomat. Markian Beck at Princeton TV. This is Adam Bierman for Princetonian Now, not later. Now.